Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about the most important financial milestone that nobody is talking about. Forget about $1 million. Forget about six figures. Forget about all these big flashy numbers. I want to talk to you about $20,000. Because $20,000 is the number that changes everything. And I mean everything. I'm 28 years old. I've built multiple businesses. I've made millions of dollars. But the moment that changed my entire financial trajectory wasn't when I made my first 100,000. It wasn't when I made my first million. It was when I hit $20,000 in savings. That was the moment everything shifted. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. So let's talk about what $20,000 actually represents. Because it's not just a number. It's not just money sitting in your bank account. $20,000 is freedom. It's options. It's leverage. It's the bridge between being broke and being unstoppable. And most people never get there because they don't understand how powerful this number is. Let me take you back to when I had $0. Actually, let me take you back to when I had negative dollars because I was in debt. I was living paycheck to paycheck. Every single month, I was stressed about making rent. I was stressed about unexpected expenses. My car would make a weird noise and I would have a panic attack because I knew I couldn't afford to fix it. And here's what that does to you psychologically. When you're broke, you can't think long term. You can't make strategic decisions. You can't take risks. You're in survival mode 24/7. Every decision you make is about getting through today, getting through this week, getting through this month. You're not thinking about building wealth. You're thinking about not being homeless. That was my reality for years. And I see so many people stuck in that same cycle. They're smart. They're talented. They're hardworking. But they can't get ahead because they don't have breathing room. They don't have a buffer. They don't have that cushion that lets them think strategically instead of desperately. So I made a decision. I was going to save $20,000 no matter what it took. Not $10,000, not $15,000, $20,000. Because $20,000 was enough to cover about 6 months of my basic expenses at the time. Rent, food, utilities, transportation. 6 months. That was my goal. And let me tell you, getting to $20,000 from zero is hard. It's probably one of the hardest financial goals you'll ever achieve. Because when you're starting from nothing, every dollar feels impossible to save. You've got bills, you've got debt, you've got life happening. But I want you to understand something. This is the most important $20,000 you will ever save. This is the foundation. This is everything. Here's how I did it. I got aggressive. I stopped eating out completely. I mean completely. No restaurants, no coffee shops, no delivery. I meal prepped every single Sunday. Rice, beans, chicken, vegetables. Boring? Absolutely. But I was saving $300 to $400 a month just from not eating out. I canceled every subscription I had. Netflix, Spotify, gym membership, all of it. Gone. I found free alternatives for everything. Free workouts on YouTube, free music on YouTube, entertainment, the library. Yeah, the library. Free books, free movies, free everything. I wasn't too proud to use free resources. I picked up side gigs. I did DoorDash on weekends. I sold stuff I didn't need. I offered to help people with social media for $50 here, $100 there. Every single dollar I made outside of my regular job went straight to savings. Not to fun, not to lifestyle, to savings. It took me 14 months. 14 months of sacrifice. 14 months of saying no to going out with friends. 14 months of driving a beat-up car and living in a tiny apartment. But I did it. I hit $20,000. And the day I hit that number, everything changed. Let me explain what changed. First, the psychological shift. When you have $20,000 in the bank, you stop living in fear. You stop making desperate decisions. You stop accepting less than you deserve because you're not terrified of losing your income. I remember the first time I felt this. My boss at my corporate job tried to give me more work without more pay. Before I had savings, I would have said yes immediately because I was scared of getting fired. But with $20,000 in the bank, I negotiated. I told him I needed either more money or less work. And you know what happened? He gave me a raise. Because I wasn't negotiating from a place of fear. I was negotiating from a place of strength. That's what $20,000 gives you. It gives you the ability to walk away. And when you have the ability to walk away, people respect you differently. Employers respect you differently. Clients respect you differently. You respect yourself differently. Second thing that changed, I could take calculated risk. Before I had savings, I couldn't even think about starting a business. I couldn't think about investing. I couldn't think about anything except survival. But with $20,000, I had a runway. I had time to try things. That's when I started my first real business. I knew that if it failed, I had 6 months to figure out my next move. I wasn't going to be homeless. I wasn't going to starve. I had a buffer. And that buffer gave me the confidence to go all in, to work nights and weekends building something, to invest money into learning and tools and growth. And here's the thing. When you can take calculated risks, you start winning. You start finding opportunities that broke people can't access. Because opportunities require investment. They require time. They require you to say no to immediate money so you can build long-term wealth. And you can't do that when you're living paycheck to paycheck. Third thing, my relationship with money completely changed. Before I had $20,000, money controlled me. I was always thinking about it, stressing about it, making decisions based on what I could afford right now. But after I hit $20,000, money became a tool, not a weapon. I stopped checking my bank account every day with anxiety. I stopped panicking when an unexpected expense came up. My car needed new tires? Annoying, but not devastating. My laptop broke? Frustrating, but not the end of the world. I could handle life's curveballs without my entire financial life falling apart. And this is huge, because when you're not constantly stressed about money, you make better decisions. You think more clearly, you're more productive, you're more creative. Poverty isn't just about not having money. It's about the mental load of constantly worrying about money. And $20,000 lifts that weight off your shoulders. Now let me break down exactly why $20,000 is the magic number. Why not $10,000? Why not $30,000? What makes $20,000 so special? 1. It's enough to cover real emergencies, medical bills, car repairs, job loss. $20,000 can handle most of life's unexpected problems without you going into debt. $10,000 feels close, but it's not quite enough for the big emergencies. $20,000 is a sweet spot where you're truly covered. 2. It's enough to give you negotiating power. Whether you're negotiating a salary, a promotion, a business deal, or anything else, $20,000 gives you the ability to walk away if the terms aren't right. That's power. Real power. And it changes how people treat you. 3. It's enough to start investing seriously. $20,000 is enough to start building real wealth. You can max out a Roth IRA and still have money left over. You can invest in index funds. You can start a business. You can buy assets that generate income. Before $20,000, you're just treading water. After $20,000, you can start swimming. 4. It's enough to break the poverty cycle. Poverty is expensive. When you're broke, you pay overdraft fees. You pay late fees. You pay higher interest rates. You can't buy in bulk. You can't take advantage of deals. $20,000 gets you out of that cycle. You stop hemorrhaging money on being poor. 5. It's achievable. This is important. $1 million feels impossible when you're broke. Even $100,000 feels impossible. But $20,000? That's hard, but it's doable. You can see the path. You can create a plan. And that makes all the difference psychologically. Now let me tell you what happened after I hit $20,000. Because this is where it gets really interesting. Once I had that foundation, wealth started building faster, way faster. Within a year of hitting $20,000, I had $50,000 saved. Within 2 years, I had $100,000. And it wasn't because I was making way more money. It was because I had momentum, I had confidence, I had options. And most importantly, I wasn't starting from zero anymore. There's this concept in physics called escape velocity. It's the minimum speed something needs to break free from a gravitational pull. And financial escape velocity is real. The first $20,000 is about reaching escape velocity. After that, building wealth gets easier because you're no longer being pulled back down by desperation and emergency after emergency. So let's talk about how you can get to $20,000. Because I know a lot of you watching this are thinking, that sounds great, but I'm starting from zero, or I'm in debt. How do I actually do this? Step 1. Get clear on your why. You need a reason that's bigger than wanting money. My reason was that I was tired of being scared all the time. I was tired of feeling powerless. I was tired of making decisions based on fear instead of strategy. What's your why? Write it down. Look at it every day. Because saving $20,000 is going to require sacrifice, and you need a reason that's strong enough to keep you going. Step 2. Calculate your timeline. $20,000 divided by how much you can save per month equals how many months it's going to take. If you can save $500 a month, that's 40 months. If you can save $1,000 a month, that's 20 months. Be realistic, but ambitious. Don't lowball yourself. Figure out how to save more. Step 3. Automate your savings. The day you get paid, money should automatically transfer to a separate savings account, not money you can easily access. A high-yield savings account that takes a day or two to transfer back. Make it just inconvenient enough that you won't touch it for random stuff. Automate it so you don't have to make the decision every time. Step 4. Cut expenses ruthlessly. I mean ruthlessly. Look at everything you spend money on and ask yourself, is this necessary right now, or is this delaying my freedom? Most things are not necessary. You think they are, but they're not. You can live without restaurants. You can live without new clothes. You can live without subscriptions. For a year or two, you can live like nobody else, so later you can live like nobody else. Step 5. Increase your income. Cutting expenses can only take you so far. At some point, you need to make more money. Side hustles, freelancing, asking for a raise, switching jobs for better pay, selling stuff, whatever it takes. Every extra dollar you make goes straight to your $20,000 goal, not to lifestyle, to freedom. Step 6. Protect your progress. As you start building your savings, life is going to test you. Friends are going to invite you to expensive things. Sales are going to tempt you. Emergencies are going to pop up, and you're going to have to decide what's a real emergency and what's just life. Protect your $20,000 like it's your ticket to freedom, because it is. Now let me address something I know some of you are thinking. You're thinking, $20,000 isn't that much. Rich people would laugh at $20,000. And you're right, $20,000 won't make you rich. That's not the point. The point is that $20,000 makes you unbreakable. It makes you dangerous in the best way possible. It gives you the foundation to build real wealth. Because you can't build $1 million net worth when you're living paycheck to paycheck. You can't build generational wealth when you're one emergency away from disaster. $20,000 is the reset button. It's the foundation. It's the springboard. It's the thing that lets you stop surviving and start thriving. And every wealthy person I know, every successful entrepreneur I know, every financially free person I know, they all had this moment. They all had this foundation. They all built from solid ground, not from quicksand. Let me tell you what else changes when you have $20,000. Your entire energy shifts. When I was broke, I was always in scarcity mode. I was always worried about what I didn't have. I was jealous of other people's success. I was resentful. I was negative. And that energy repels opportunities. But when I had $20,000, I started operating from abundance. I stopped being desperate. I started being generous. I started celebrating other people's wins because I knew mine were coming. And that energy attracts opportunities. People want to work with confident people. People want to invest in people who have their foundation solid. I started getting better job offers. I started getting better clients. I started meeting better people. And it wasn't because I suddenly became more talented. It was because I was operating from a different place. I was no longer desperate, and people could feel that. Another thing that changed, my decision making. When you're broke, you make short-term decisions. You take the quick money, even if it's not aligned with your goals. You say yes to things you should say no to because you can't afford to say no. You compromise your values and your vision because survival comes first. With $20,000, I could make long-term decisions. I could turn down clients that weren't right for me. I could invest in learning and development. I could build relationships without needing immediate returns. I could plant seeds and wait for them to grow. That's strategic thinking. That's wealth-building thinking. And you can't do that when you're broke. Let me also talk about what $20,000 did for my health, physical and mental health. When you're broke, you're constantly stressed. That stress affects everything: your sleep, your eating habits, your relationships, your ability to focus and be productive. You're literally running on survival mode, cortisol, all the time. Once I had $20,000, I slept better. My anxiety decreased. I stopped stress eating. I had energy to work out. I could focus on my goals instead of constantly putting out fires. And better health led to better decisions, which led to more success, which led to more wealth. It's all connected. Now I want to address the people watching this who already have $20,000 or more. Don't tune out, because here's what I want you to understand. This principle scales. If $20,000 is foundational wealth, what's your next level? Maybe for you, it's $100,000. Maybe it's enough to cover a year of expenses. Maybe it's enough to start a bigger business. Maybe it's enough to buy your first rental property. The number changes, but the principle stays the same. There's a level of financial security that gives you options, leverage, and freedom. And once you hit that level, everything changes. But if you're not there yet, don't skip steps. Don't try to go from 0 to 100,000 when you haven't built the foundation. Get to 20,000 first. Master that level. Learn the discipline. Build the habits. Prove to yourself that you can do it. Then go for the next level. I also want to talk about what $20,000 isn't. It's not retirement money. It's not investment money, at least not yet. It's not money you touch. $20,000 is your emergency fund. It's your foundation. It's your security blanket. It sits there and gives you peace of mind. Once you have $20,000, then you start building on top of it. Then you start investing. Then you start taking bigger risks. Then you start building wealth. But the $20,000 stays. It's not part of your investment portfolio. It's your safety net. Always. So here's my challenge to you. If you don't have $20,000 saved, make that your number one financial goal. Not paying off all your debt. Not investing in crypto. Not starting a business. Get to $20,000 first. Everything else can wait. And I know some of you are going to argue with me. You're going to say, but what about my high interest debt? What about investing early for compound interest? What about opportunities that require capital? And I hear you. But here's the thing. Without a foundation, you're building on sand. One emergency wipes you out. One setback destroys you. Get your foundation first. Once you have $20,000, then we can talk about aggressive debt payoff. Then we can talk about maxing out retirement accounts. Then we can talk about investing in business opportunities. But first, get solid. Get unshakable. Get to $20,000. I'm going to leave you with this. 5 years ago, I had $0. Today, I'm a millionaire. And the moment that made that possible wasn't when I made my first $100,000. It wasn't when I sold my first company. It was when I saved my first $20,000. That was the moment I stopped being broke and started being a builder. $20,000 changed my life. It gave me options. It gave me confidence. It gave me freedom. It gave me the ability to bet on myself. It gave me peace of mind. It gave me power. And it can do the same for you. So stop chasing the big flashy numbers. Stop thinking you need $1 million to change your life. You need $20,000. That's it. $20,000 is all you need to change everything. Get there. However long it takes, whatever it requires, get there. If this video resonated with you, drop a comment and tell me where you are on your journey to $20,000. Are you at 0? Are you halfway there? Have you already hit it and you're working on the next level? I want to hear your story. Drop a comment right now. And if you're serious about building wealth, about changing your financial life, about becoming the person you know you can be, subscribe to this channel. I'm dropping real financial education every single week. No fluff, no BS. Just real strategies that work. Remember, $20,000. That's your number. That's your goal. That's your ticket to freedom. Everything changes after $20,000. Everything. Go get it. I'll see you in the next one. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and let's build this wealth together.